Ladies and gentlemen, this Red Gaming Critical video, Assassin's Creed Unity is 900p 30 FPS on both the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now before we go into this any further, I'd like to apologise for the crappy audio quality. Unfortunately, using a backup mic because our regular audio equipment is having a little bit of a problem. We are organising replacement parts as we speak. So, anyway, back to the original point, 900p 30 FPS. So this has actually been confirmed by Ubisoft themselves, and in fact the senior producer was discussing this with Video Gamer, and he said, and I quote, "We decided to lock them at the same spec to avoid all the debates and stuff. Indeed, they are CPU bound, not GPU bound." He said, "Technically with CPU bound, the GPUs that are really powerful, obviously graphics look pretty good, but the CPU that has to process the AI and the number of NPCs we have on screen, all of those systems running in parallel. We were quickly bottlenecked by that, and it was a bit frustrating because we thought that there was going to be a tenfold improvement over everything AI-wise, and we realised it was going to be pretty hard. But it's not the number of polygons that affect the frame rate. It could be 900, it could be 100 FPS if it was just the graphics, but because of AI, we're limited to just 30 FPS. And that's all she wrote, folks. So the way I'm interpreting this fairly small interview, to be honest, is that he's effectively saying that the frame rate is going to be 30 FPS because the console's CPUs are just not fast enough. But simultaneously, he's also saying that in this case the GPUs are most likely, especially the PS4, is probably going to be fast enough to handle 1080p, but they're just not handling that. They're just not going to basically deal with the controversy, and instead they're locking it at 900p for both. I don't know that's the right decision, to be totally and utterly honest. I think that's just going to piss more people off, if I'm totally and utterly blunt with you. The problem you've got now is that you're effectively nerfing one version of the game for another. Effectively, you're saying, well, the PlayStation 4 version can't be superior because people are going to complain on the internet. The problem is now you've made these comments and you just got to assume people are still going to bitch. In fact, people are probably going to be even more pissed. While I understand that Xbox One owners probably won't be complaining necessarily, they might be. I don't know. But I imagine PC owners are probably pretty worried right now, and I wouldn't blame them, because it then begs the question, well, how's the PC version going to stack up? In addition to that, is it really fair for one version of the game to really affect another? I mean, I understand that let's take, say, the Wii version, and let's say the Wii U is the most popular console by a massive amount. So the other consoles were considerably more powerful, but also less popular. I could understand the Wii definitely holding back the generation of consoles, because, well, the target platform would be the Wii U, because it would be the most popular. In this case, though, that's not the case. Both systems are pretty damn equally popular. Okay, the PS4 is slightly outselling, but whatever. I don't necessarily agree with this, and I'd like for them to discuss this a little more. I'd like for him to elaborate on these points and to actually see whether he could have gotten the PS4 version running at 1080p constant. From the sounds of this, from the early, very brief synopsis he's given, it appears that yes, the title would be running at 1080p if they weren't basically aiming for parity. So I'm quite curious to hear how the internet is going to react to this, because I imagine it's not going to go too well. In regards to the CPU side of things, it appears that basically they're not going to be using the GPU, in other words compute, to run AI, which isn't particularly surprising. And it actually goes into the fact that the CPU is just not powerful enough on the console in many cases. It's just not. On a per thread basis, it's just not giving enough performance, and they've only got 6 cores to work with. Okay, it does have 8 total on the console, but 2 of those 8 are reserved for OS. So effectively you're getting a situation where already we're having titles which are just going to be CPU bound, and there's probably going to be ways in the future of moving to compute, possibly. But remember, it's not like just running on compute is like a magical endless resource. It's not a magical unicorn. At the end of the day, you're still taking reserves away from graphics. So that's why when developers in the past have said, well, I think the CPU is definitely going to be the weaker side of things, I could see where they were coming from. Anyway guys, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. I'll see you soon. Take care, and bye for now.